Hello, welcome back to Eerie Covenant. So in this video, I wanted to share with you guys my experience with my abilities since I was a child, and how hard it really was to adapt to it and learn to control it and work with it and help people. And that is the main reason I do it, is to help people who are grieving or have a disturbance in their house and they need help. But since I was 3, I had the ability to see and speak to the dead. I would be up at 2 to 3 a.m. sitting in my room speaking to people, and my mother would wake up and see it, hear it, watch me, and it scared her. I had what she thought was an imaginary friend. Her name was Amy, and she went everywhere with me. For about a good month, I would say. Of course, I was a kid. I can't really remember how long, but according to what my mom told me, I'd say about a month. My mom said I would even hold her hand around the house, and everywhere that I went, it was Amy this, Amy that. She became kind of like my best friend. So she took me to the doctors to get me checked out, and the doctor ruled out that I was fine, that it was, again, an imaginary friend. But my mother knew that it was a bit more than that. This was really erratic to her. So she did some research on the house and later found that this little girl named Amy had drowned in the bathtub in the apartment we were living in. About 5 years old, I began experiencing other entities and shadow people. I thought that they were like my other friends that I spoke to until one night I was playing around in my room. I can remember this vividly because it scared me. I remember one manifested kind of in the corner of my room in the shadows, and there was only a little lamp light in the room, so shadows were kind of casted everywhere. But this manifested into the shape of kind of a person, but there was some slight differences to it, and I just got this feeling of dread. It moved along and swept across the room in the shadows to my dresser, which was near me, and it pushed a lamp off of it, and it just missed my head. I was scared, but I still didn't realize the full extent of what this was. I was too little. But they plagued me along with many spirits for many years, up until my teens. My mom had to deal with a lot of nightmares, a lot of me crying to her, saying I see this or that. And when I got about 14, I began dabbling and finding my path. I started off in the lighter path, and I had cast a protection spell around my room. Nothing uninvited could enter, but one of the shadow people had outsmarted me with that. At night, I heard knocks on my door, thinking it was my sister playing with me. Sorry. So I remember going to the door, and I opened it, and I was going to jump out at her and scare her, but there was nothing there. And I went and checked out my sister's room, and she was asleep. So I went and laid back down, and I'm just drifting off to sleep. And then the blanket started pulling off me from the foot of my bed. And I looked up and I saw it. It was a huge, I'm talking really tall, black shadow person. You couldn't make out any features. It was just a very dark entity. And I remember feeling so much fear, So after that night, I went and slept with my sister the rest of the night, and she saw it walk by her room. So after that, I heard knocks on my door at night. I would not answer it at all, and I was adamant about keeping my doors to my room shut. So for years, I was afraid of this. I was afraid of my abilities, things I saw. I even seen some inhuman shaped things. I've seen entities that looked like fragments of little black things, and they would all like hover into a corner together. My personal opinion on that is they are just fragments of people who have not manifested yet, some dark, some light. But yeah, so I was afraid of this, and I saw the dead everywhere and began seeing past events through their eyes, especially when I'd step on certain locations. So it was just getting out of hand for me. I was so overwhelmed, and my grandmother has the same abilities. She taught me how to deal and close it off and on. So I practiced that until I was ready to face it and learn. The first spirit that I helped was a family member to a girl who was in danger. It was also my first work with the police. I was asleep, and I suddenly began to see through this girl's eyes. My vision was a little blurred, I remember, but I noticed the hair. Like if you look down and you can see your long hair falling at your chest. I noticed the hair was not mine. And I noticed like raw fear for my life. I could feel her emotions. I looked up and I saw a man reach down and start strangling her, which was me. I was seeing it through her eyes, until she almost passed out, and then would let go, laugh, and wait a little bit before he'd do it again to her. I took big notice in his face. I couldn't look away from his face. Then like that, I woke up. I was in a panic. I was drenched in sweat, and I saw the spirit, a family member to this girl. And still panicking, I called the police. I know I probably sounded crazy to them. I could tell they didn't take me seriously, but I just said, there's the girl that is captive, and she's being tortured by this man, and I gave his description. And they asked me her name. I didn't know. They asked me the location. I didn't know. And how I got the info. I told them the truth about that, and they hung up on me. So, about 2 weeks later, the newspaper came out, and in it was a picture of the man I saw and the girl's story. Now, luckily she made it. She's alive. That's why I don't really want to give out any names or personal information, for their privacy. I was in shock, but happy she made it, because it was on my mind. The police called me back eventually, and they wanted to know how I knew. And I told them the truth again. I don't think, again, that they believed me, but they did take it down as like a statement. And I helped another girl whose father passed away. She was upset because they could not tell her how he passed away, but she had her suspicions. So I had summoned him and talked to him and learned he was killed by his wife by poison. And when he went for a walk that day, he died. They found his body. And it was all over money. So I told this girl, the daughter, what I found out. And she had paid for a toxicology to be done. And they found it. And she got justice for her father. So now I work close with spirits. I help people read their houses, get rid of spirits that might be bothering them, and my abilities work better on locations. So, but I have helped people online as well. I've helped people locate things, and I've helped someone once even locate somebody. I wanted to just share this with you guys and talk about it a bit, in case you wonder why I have so much videos dealing with spirits and spirit work. I kind of eventually took to necromancy, and I work closely with the dead. I go everywhere now and give people messages, even my pharmacy when I go collect my meds. These two ladies that work there, they're so sweet. I love them to death. But I had gotten messages from their parents, and I helped them out emotionally. They were having some trouble getting over some things, and that rewarding feeling of helping others is why I do it and why I love it. It can be scary at times, but it is worth it if I'm helping somebody. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments if you did, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, with love and light from Eerie Covenant. Also, let me know if you have any abilities.